Side Hustle Show 89, 15,000 subscribers in 6 months, how to build your email list from Amazon.
Welcome to the Side Hustle Show, where aspiring part-time entrepreneurs learn how to turn their side hustle dreams into reality. Because your 9 to 5 may make you a living, but your 5 to 9 makes you alive. And now, your host, Nick Loper.
Hey everybody, Nick Loper here. Welcome to the Side Hustle Show. This is episode 89, how to build your email list from Amazon. Nick Stevenson is here. He's a best-selling, self-published author in both fiction and nonfiction, and has got some pretty fascinating tactics to share about leveraging Amazon to build your business, even if you're not an author. Among these tactics is siphoning customers away from that big platform onto your email list, and we're going to dive into how he's done that in a really smart way. But before we do it, I want you to think, the idea of giving away something for free is it can be daunting. It can be, that seems counterintuitive. I need to make money for my work, right? But think about this. We launch a new website, a new service. We're going to put up an email opt-in offer. We're going to give people an incentive to subscribe to our list anyways, right? Like on Side Hustle Nation right now, I have the 5 fastest ways to earn more money. But when we're just starting out, we have no traffic. So we hit it hard on social media, and we hit it hard on guest posting to try and, get those first few visitors to start, gain a little momentum, a little bit of traction. But Nick's strategy, takes that to a whole new level by going to one of the biggest platforms out there. So instead of thinking of it as a free book, think of it as free guest posting on steroids, right? Like you're never going to be able to find a guest posting platform as big as Amazon. Before you have clients, before you have customers, before you have fans, you need subscribers, and before you can get subscribers, you need those eyeballs. And Amazon, to me, seems like the perfect place to get them. So I was really excited about this call. Looking forward to maybe testing out this strategy myself. You can learn more about Nick's books at nickstevensonbooks.com, and on the author side, on the business side, he's at yourfirst10kreaders.com, yourfirst10kreaders.com. Links to those, as well as a free downloadable PDF with all my notes, highlights, and Nick's top tips from the call are at sidehustlenation.com/89. Let's do it. Hey, Nick, welcome to the Side Hustle Show.
Hey, Nick. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited to dive into this stuff because Kindle publishing or self-publishing is a side hustle of mine. Big fan of that, and big fan of leveraging the platform that is Amazon, the biggest store in the world, and having something for sale kind of goes back to the idea of having buy buttons wherever there are buyers, and that's a great place to do it. But let's kind of go into the background. Here's my understanding of it, and correct me if I'm wrong. 15,000 new email subscribers in 6 months.
Yes, I think it was around that. Yeah, I mean, by the end of 2014, I think I'd been doing it about 8 months, and I'd racked up about 20,000 by that point. But roughly 15,000 in 6 months.
That's nuts. I've been at this side hustle thing for over a year and a half, and I haven't cracked near that number yet. And how does it work?
I'd been doing it for a year, writing. This was fiction. I've been writing fiction books and selling fiction books on Amazon for about a year. When I figured out, I should be collecting email addresses, maybe. It didn't take much convincing, really, to kind of get me into the mindset of, if I have someone's email address, shock, I can tell them about other stuff I've got for sale, instead of just assuming that they'll, read one book and then go buy all the others in one go, because it just doesn't happen.
Right.
And it was a major kind of mind shift from sort of midway through 2014 was, everybody talks about Amazon, the Kindle store, as though it's a bookstore, but it's not. It's a search engine for books. And might sound like a small kind of tweak, but it's a massive mindset change, because authors, I think about how to sell a book in a bookstore. Think about, have a nice cover, it's got to have compelling back copy, blurb on the back, it's got to be somewhere where readers can see it, and all of this is true, but there's so much more to selling on Kindle and Nook and iTunes and Kobo, anything on, because you've got to think about how readers find books on these sites. And with Amazon especially, it is a giant search engine. It's a search engine for products that people want to buy, including books. So if you approach selling books on Kindle in a similar fashion to ranking a web page on Google, this is exactly what I mean. And I saw some amazing results with that. And one of the other kind of ancillary benefits was realizing that, much like a website, you need to be collecting contact info of every single person who lands on your website, if you can, to make sure you can follow up with them in the future. So if it's the same for websites, it's the same for books. So I was looking at all these websites and blogs and communities that I'd been reading for years, and noticed that their number one priority in most cases is to get your email address. You land on a home page, there might be a pop-up, or there might be a download that you can get in exchange for an email address, which works really well. But generally speaking, most blogs, most websites are designed to capture your email address so that you be sold to later on. Essentially, I mean,
in no uncertain terms.
In no uncertain terms. I mean, some people do it really well. Some companies do it very badly. But generally speaking, a company wants to get your email. So I figured, I should start doing this as well.
This is the biggest beef against Amazon versus selling directly. We talk to different authors, and there's the big debate. Like, I should just sell on my own platform so I can collect the email address, because you could sell 1,000 books on Amazon and have no idea who those buyers are. They're Amazon's customers. They're not yours. Absolutely. But you've got a unique way to funnel those people back to you, to capture emails from from those buyers, and then, if I'm understanding correctly, that dumps them into kind of an automated, marketing sequence that's populated with, other products and affiliate links, and it's like an automated money machine for you. Do you have can you share approximate numbers to give people an idea of what's possible?
First of all, I don't dump anybody, gently coax them through. But essentially, I use the book as the traffic generator. And because Amazon is the biggest marketplace, that's where I tend to. And I've got a few books out there, but as anybody knows who's ever tried to sell a book online on the major retailers, is if you've got a free book, you can shift maybe 50 to 100 times many copies. You don't make any money off them, but you get a load more traffic. So more traffic is good. We like traffic, but we need to be able to get people's email addresses. So what I do is I offer something in the front and the back of my books to say, if you want for example, second book in the series for my fiction, and for non-fiction, you might say, if you want a free bonus or a video training session or something like that. If you want that, just go to my website and sign up, and then link people from your ebook to your landing page. And if your landing page is well designed and it's got a way to capture email addresses, then you can add a significant number to your mailing list. If you make it a priority, which is exactly what I did. So with my fiction book, I had 5 books in a series. They were mysteries, and I made the first book permanently free on Amazon.
Okay. Let's talk about how to do that, because I'm familiar with the KDP Select program that allows you to run a free promotion for 5 days out of every 90 days, and that's great. That's how I launched the Work Smarter book. But how do you make something permanently free on Amazon? Because when I go in to set the price, it says the minimum now is 99 cents.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon don't give you the option to set the price for free. What they do is they price match. So they will always make sure they are the lowest price retailer wherever possible. So if you can get your ebook onto one of the other major retailers and set it to free, then Amazon will price match their version as well. So you can do this through a ebook distributor like Smashword or Draft to Digital, which you can upload straight away, set the price to free, and then as soon as it's gone free on Nook, on Kobo, on iTunes, as soon as it's gone free, just email Amazon and tell them about it, and they will eventually drop their price down to 0 as well.
Do you email them yourself, or as the author, or do you have a friend email them on your behalf?
I email them straight from my dashboard. I just say, by the way, I've written this book. I've set it to free on Nook and iTunes and Kobo. Here's the links. I just say I'd really appreciate it if you consider price matching. And Amazon are aware that free books are a great way to sell paid book. So while they're not actively encouraging everybody to give away free stuff all the time, they do appreciate there is a strategic quality. So there is a
Okay.
there is a workaround, and it's one that is used by a lot of authors to drive sales of their other paid. But for me, it's more about getting the traffic, getting the email addresses, because then I can build a community of readers. And I think that's a lot more important to me, is building that community rather than just flogging all the other books. A community is longer lasting, and it's something that you can really develop.
So is that on your book's product page, or is like report a lower price, or
They do have report a lower price buttons on the page.
Is that what you're using, or is there a specific email sending to?
If you publish to KDP, you just log in to your publishing dashboard and click the contact button. Just email them.
Fair enough.
Yeah, very quick and easy. But once it's gone free, you'll start seeing a lot more downloads. I mean, they're free, so you're not earning any money from it. But if you're collecting email address, then later on down the line, you can sell them your other books, and you can launch new books to thousands of people, which is the key. Because as we've talked about previously, doing well on Amazon is like doing well on Google. There's a lot of search engine optimization concepts going on about building up traffic and building up demand for your book, which will help it do really well in the algorithm, in the charts. So if you launch really strong, then you're setting yourself up for some really good results. Obviously, you've got a few thousand people on your email list who want to buy it on the day it comes out. You're going to do really well. So that was my thought. I'm happy to potentially lose money on a free book in return for getting the email address, because then I have a built-in platform of fans.
Do you see this working for non-authors? Like if I don't have if I don't have an interest in writing a portfolio of books, writing a fiction series, but I have if I have a service business, I have some other sort of side hustle or some other sort of entrepreneurial venture that I'm working on. Obviously there's still a ton of value in creating that email list. Do you see this as something that could work for somebody like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And just like putting together a blog post, a series of articles, people might not think that they're capable of doing that, but that's all writing is. It's just writing down your thoughts and getting it in some kind of structured format. So, you might not be a writer, but if you can create some content and get it onto the major ebook retailer, then that's another source of traffic for. So my fiction books did really well for free. I mean, I was getting 2,000 downloads a day, which was insane, and I wasn't really doing much to promote it. But fiction is a lot easier to get those massive numbers, because a novel that's free is something people will grab as soon as they see it. For non-fiction, I think it's slightly less in terms of the number of downloads and the number of email addresses that I get through on my non-fiction work, but the conversion rates are much higher, so the quality of the list is higher.
Okay. In general, what percentage signups to downloads are you seeing?
For fiction, it's around 5% of everyone who downloads the free book will sign up to my mail, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in reality, only about 15% are ever going to read it anyway. So it's actually maybe a third of the people who read the book will sign up. For non-fiction, I have one book that's permanently free for non-fiction, and I get roughly around sort of 12% sign up. So very nearly everybody who downloads it is signing up for the mailing list.
Okay, and what's the bonus offer in that one? What's the sign up incentive?
The sign up incentive in the non-fiction book is my free video training, which is at yourfirst10kreaders.com. So this is all about how to find your first 10,000 readers. Basically what we're talking about today, step by step, exactly how do I get a book onto Amazon, get the maximum amount of downloads, and then how do I get people from Amazon onto my website, and from my website onto my mailing list. It's that process, and that's what I go through. And whether you're fiction or non-fiction, if you can get people off Amazon onto your site and convert them into a subscriber, that's gold dust. It really is absolutely worth setting books for free for that. And you don't have to make your books permanently free either. You can use the KDP Kindle Publishing allotted free days as well if you want.
Yeah, and so during the free promo, I probably saw 400 new email signups, which was I can't do the math, but like a similar percentage to the nonfiction thing. And my giveaway was just another ebook that I'd already created. Maybe it could have been more relevant or more. I've heard that audiobooks do really well, and even by having that offer in the first whatever, in the first 10%, because Amazon has the look inside feature, right, where you can see the first few pages of the book. And so when you go in that book and you say, oh, look, I can get the free audiobook. I don't even have to buy the book. Like, they're going to give me the free audio version of it just in exchange for my email. Like, oh shoot, that's okay.
Yeah, I put that sign up link wherever possible. So in the product description, in the first, before chapter 1, right before chapter 1 is, the sign up link and a big colorful advert telling people, go get this free cool thing, sign up here and I'll give it to you. And I just put it everywhere I possibly can, on my blog, on my websites. The main aim for me is to get people onto an email list, because, even if they don't end up buying anything, they may be able to give me feedback, they may be able to communicate with me, I will learn something from them, and, that's really valuable. But, all things considered, if you do get 100 people onto a mailing list, 20 of them are going to buy something.
Right. So let's talk. Yeah. Let's talk about the book itself. How long is it, and how is it? 2,000 downloads a day. I think that's fantastic. I don't know if that's typical for people just starting out, but how is that? We talk about like the search engine tactics of the Amazon algorithm and stuff, but like the book itself, is this a full length thing, or is this just a kind of a free, like for example, on Side Hustle Nation, I have like the free, or like the 5 fastest ways to earn more money, and it's like 20 or 30 pages. Like, it's not something that would necessarily sell on Amazon.
Well, the fiction novel that's free, and that was the one that was getting crazy numbers of downloads, and that's a full book. And it wasn't always free. I mean, I wrote it and was charging $3.99, $4.99 for it, and then I realized that it was my most popular and most highly rated book, so I made it free, which might sound crazy.
Yeah, that sounds risky. Like, I'm cannibalizing I'm slaughtering my cash cow here.
It was a bit of a risk, but my idea was, and I think this is probably the right thing looking back with 2020 hindsight, is that a free book, like anything, is essentially advertising your brand. So whatever it is that you're putting out in front of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, needs to be the best that you've got to offer. So a lot of people think, okay, I'm going to try this permanently free strategy. I know I'll just write something in 10 minutes and whack it up and hope for the best. And then they give up when they get like 5 downloads a day, or people will release, and I've tried this. I first tried this with a novella rather than a full novel. And, I was getting, a few hundred downloads a day, but not enough to make up for the lost revenue. And I wasn't getting enough sign-ups to make it particularly exciting. So I thought, conceptually, I should be putting my best work out there for free. Let's take the highest rated I've got, and let's make it free and see what happens. And then, this strategy meant I started getting 3 times, 4 times as many downloads. But, conversely, my non-fiction, which is called Reader Magnets, which is, again, about getting people onto a mailing list, is only 45 pages long. But I mean, that still gets 300 to 500 downloads a day in a relatively obscure sort of author marketing niche. Fiction, very broad, lots of opportunity for downloads in fiction. Non-fiction, sort of author marketing focus, not so much, but it's still getting 300-400 downloads a day.
Wow!
And it's 45 pages long, and that's because it's very, very targeted.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, but and you can advertise these books as well. So I'm not saying just stick them up and leave them alone. I have done advertising with BookBub and a few other kind of advertising places as well. And for free advertising free books, it's not, unfortunately, isn't free to do. Wish it was. But advertising free books can be very powerful, because I think most authors have this sort of mind block. They can't really understand why you would pay to give away something. But in my head, I'm not losing money on a sale. I'm advertising my book to you. I'm giving you the opportunity to buy something from me in the future. I'm trying to upsell and get you onto my mailing list. So I will pay through the nose to get as many people looking at my stuff as possible. So I'm always happy to pay for advertising, and I think it can work extremely well.
Right. It's very much a long-term play, and I admire the foresight to be able to do that. Yeah. And once you know what a subscriber is worth to you, like that average lifetime value or whatever, like if you're going to run them through this sequence, and every X percentage of people will buy this, X percentage of people will buy that, like then you can kind of back into what's an acceptable Great. Like it becomes a numbers game, just like pay-per-click advertising. And that was the game that I used to play with shoes.
Sounds fun.
So the book itself, like if I'm not an author, if I have, a service business, selling, graphic design or selling, dog training or whatever, like, do I need to write this myself or, what's that next step?
Well, you need some sort of product or information product to put onto Amazon. And then you need something to give away in return for an email address. Because remember, we use the book on Amazon to get traffic. But then
you kind of need two different products.
It doesn't have to be a book, though. I mean, yes, you have to put a book on Amazon because Amazon won't sell a PDF and it won't sell, a video. Not the ones that we can put together anyway. But it will sell an ebook. So if you can, if you're selling dog training or, interior decorating or, it doesn't matter. As long as you can create some sort of information content that the people who your potential customers are going to find useful. So, if you're a dog trainer, you might want to write a book about, the top 30 mistakes that dog owners make when trying to house train their pets and what you should do instead. You could commission somebody to write that for you. You could outsource it. You could have a stab at writing it yourself. It doesn't have to be, a work of art. It just has to be useful. It has to be valuable to your potential customer. Get it onto Amazon, get it onto iTunes, get it everywhere you possibly can. Make it free. If you've got the budget, pay for some advertising as well. And make sure you've got a very, very strong call to action in the book that says, did you enjoy my, top 30 mistakes to avoid for dog trainers? If so, I've got a video series that shows you exactly what you should be doing instead. Click here to get the video series. They click the link, they go to the website, they sign up, they get the videos, and then they're on your mailing list. And you then have the opportunity to sell to them in the future, when the time is right, when it's appropriate.
When it's appropriate, not shoving product down their throat. But yeah, I could see in that example, like, oh, here's a whatever affiliate product that I recommend, that I use, whatever it is for dog training, a special leash or clicker thing, exactly. Or whatever it is.
Exactly. And because you're offering value up front, then when you do sell something, I advise you to only sell stuff you've used. If you're going to do affiliate products, make sure it's something that you have used and you do actually don't just spam out stuff.
Right.
I think it's important to be a bit ethical, although with internet marketing the bar is pretty low, but we can try and raise that up a bit. Be as ethical as possible. For example, with my non-fiction books, I focus on how authors can sell books, specifically how to get your first 10,000 readers. And when people sign up to my mailing list, I give them a ton of video content that talks about, how to use the right keywords to get the maximum of downloads on your books, how to get people off your books onto your web page, how to create landing pages, all kinds of stuff that's designed to get them selling more books and building up the platform. And I don't sell anything, until the end of all of that. And even then, it's stuff that, you don't need, but it's stuff that I've used and I find useful. So, I'll always tell people, you can do it this way, and it won't cost you anything, but it'll take you 6 hours. Or you can do it this way, and it'll take you like 10 minutes, but you'll have to pay for it. And by the way, here's the affiliate link.
Okay.
So, I'm always offering the alternatives.
Okay, no, that's fair.
I find that ethical, and hopefully other too, but that's where I am coming from. Providing value first and foremost, building a relationship, building trust with customers and readers, and then selling to them when that trust is established and not before.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Kind of the know, like, trust pyramid of sales. I think that's really smart. On the marketing side, so you mentioned keyword, like how we're getting eyeballs to the book, because it's like, Amazon has gone from 600,000 Kindle books in 2011 to 3 million today.
Yeah. I think people kind of get a bit overwhelmed by that because I don't think that's a very useful number. There might be 3 million books, but there's only really 100,000 books that are selling anything. And that,
exactly. How can we avoid being how can we avoid being the 2.9 that never see any action?
I mean, that hasn't really changed in the last couple of years. It's only really the top 100,000 or so that are selling anything. And it's just that the long tail has got longer and the poorly selling books have got more voluminous. But, I don't think it's an issue because if you're doing your job properly and you're thinking about how to narrow down your audience, then you will find a niche that will support you. And Amazon keep adding new categories and new niches to their search engine. So it's like saying, the internet's really big now, so we can't possibly get found on Google. It's complete nonsense. You just got to target in properly on who you're trying to attract and make sure you're providing something of value. And we can do that using keywords is one great way on all of the retailers allow keywords. But Amazon, it's especially useful because their search engine functionality is just so light years beyond anybody else's. And they allow you to choose keywords. When you publish a book, you get to choose 7. So the keyword might be, mystery thriller, which is 2 words, but it's a keyword.
Okay.
And you get to choose 7 of those. And, of all the authors I've spoken to, I found most of them do exactly what I've just said, is they choose their genre as their keyword. They just say, my keywords are mystery, crime, thriller, book, fiction, novel, and guns or something. I don't know. They just pick 7 words that are vaguely related to their book. And I did this as well. And I'm completely guilty of this. But remember I said earlier, selling books on Amazon is like ranking a web page on Google. Can you imagine if you were trying to launch a website that was about marketing? If it was about, let's say it was about author marketing, and you were trying to rank for a keyword like marketing.
Right. Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. It's exactly the same on Amazon. You need to aim and focus on keywords that you have a realistic chance of ranking high for. So you need to look for kind of high traffic, low competition, just like you were trying to rank a page. And, I found that if you narrow down a bit more, instead of being, mystery thriller, one keyword might be mystery and thriller series as a keyword.
Okay.
And instead of having 40,000 hits for mystery or 80,000 hits for mystery and thriller series might only have 800 or 900.
Okay, but it's better even though the volume isn't there. It's easy. It's going to be easier to show up at the top of the list for.
Exactly, and you can check about the volume side of things as well, because you obviously don't want to be in a really narrow keyword that has no traffic, because that's not going to help you. But like Google, Amazon has search suggestions. So when you start typing your keyword into the search box, you will get a drop down of suggested keywords, and these suggested keywords have good traffic. So if you can find one on the list that suits your book, you can do some amazing things.
Okay.
This works especially well for free books as well, because most people keep the same keywords when they have a free book, but they never think to use the word free in the keywords. So it makes perfect sense. I
definitely would not have thought of that.
If I've got a free thriller and I'm using the keyword, thriller series, I would change that to be free thrillers or free best-selling thrillers or something. I would check to see which one's most suitable. But having the word free in there means you're picking up all the people for free books as well. And generally speaking, the traffic on those pages.
Okay.
So that's a good. But as I mentioned with the video training, I do kind of spend a good sort of hour and a half going through exactly how you can do this with some screencasts and everything. So it's kind of hard to act out. You can mime it potentially if you're on video. But yeah, essentially you've just got to be smart. And I do use some premium tool to kind of automate this process for me, because as you can imagine, keyword research, it's not really something most people are particularly passionate about, and it does take time. And if you've got 50 million books in your backlist, it's going to take you a very long time to research 7 keywords per book. So I do use some automators that kind of just figure it all out for me, and it's worked amazing. So results, I'll give you some results. I did promise you some. So when I changed my keywords, my sales went from sort of $2,000 to $3,000 a month to over $10,000 a month.
In Kindle sales, in book sales.
In just Kindle sales, yeah. And that was within a month or so of changing keywords. Just
from, turning up better in Amazon's own search engine.
Absolutely. And my theory, and what I really do believe, is that everything...
Okay, now I've got to go revisit my keywords now.
Yeah, everything about my books was, textbook as it should be. The covers were, professionally done. They were all branded together. It had been thoroughly edited, spell checked. The product description was, engaging. I'd had it checked on forums by dozens of other authors. I'd got dozens of 5-star reviews. Everything was in place. But, it was still selling a few $1,000s a month between 5 books, which is fine, not complaining about it. But you always want to do better. And I thought, the one place I haven't focused is on keyword. And, we're dealing with a search engine here. Maybe keywords is probably an important thing. So I spent some time altering the keywords. And
the tool that I've used, is Merchant Words. Do you put much stock into their data?
I haven't used merchant words. I use two pieces of software. One's called Kindle Spy, which is it's quite cool. It's a Chrome plugin, and it basically crawls the Amazon public pages and pulls out all the relevant data in relation to a category. So if you So let's say you're writing a non-fiction book like the dog training example earlier. You could use Kindle Spy to find other dog training books and see what they have in common, and see where the best-selling books are different from the ones that don't sell so well. You can track them. You can see, estimated revenue. You can look at all kinds of stuff. So it's a great way of finding niches and seeing which ones are profitable.
Is it a free plugin?
It's $27.
Okay.
So it's, it made its money back pretty quickly as far as I'm concerned. And the other one was Kindle Samurai, which is a bit more focused. It just does keywords. It's like the Google AdWords tool. They took it away from it, where you type in a keyword like mystery or dog training, whatever it might be. You press a button, and it gives you like all the related searches from Amazon. And again, it's pulling all of this out of the public pages on Amazon. And then what it can do is it can rank each one of those keywords in order of how attractive the keyword is. So it looks at stuff like estimated traffic, the competition, what ranks the other books are selling at, and you can configure it to rank however you like. But essentially, you want to be finding keywords. You don't want ones where every book is selling in the top 100, because you're never going to break into that. But you also don't want keywords where every book is in the top, but is in the bottom like 500,000, because no one's going to buy them. So Kindle Samurai not only gives you suggested keywords, but it ranks them all. And I used that instead of doing it all manually. I value my sanity too highly to spend too much time doing manual keyword research. So I shelled out $30 for the software, and it was completely worth it as far as I'm concerned, because my sales literally quadrupled. As I said, because I believe everything else was in place to get the sales through. I just wasn't getting enough eyeballs.
Yeah, and we'll kind of move towards wrapping these things up. So what happens once somebody joins your list? And let's talk about the nonfiction stuff. So you mentioned they're kind of in this relationship building stage. You're sending them more valuable content related to Kindle, building their author platform. What does that autoresponder look like?
So I've had a couple actually. Initially, I was just doing text emails. So when someone signed up, I would send them one email every day for 10 days.
Okay.
Which I thought was insane at the time, but I figured I'd give it a go, because I don't think many people really advocate emailing every day. But I was like, screw it, I'm going to try it. Test that assumption. And it's turned out really well, actually, so no regrets there. But people would sign up, they'd confirm their email address, all stuff, and then they get a different marketing lesson every day for 10 days. And it would cover stuff like we've mentioned previously about cancelling your free promotion at a specific time to make sure you're in the charts during peak hours, and stuff like how to do paperbacks, how to find keywords, how to get people on your mailing list, stuff like this. And it was really popular. I mean, I was getting emails back from people thanking me profusely for all this stuff I was giving out, and it's always a good feeling when you're actually helping people. And,
for sure.
A couple of the emails would have affiliate products, but they'd be at the end, like after I'd given the lesson for the day, where I'd say, here endeth the lesson, or something similar. By the way, if you want to do it the quick and easy way, here's a product. And I thought, it seems fair enough, but it performed a lot better than I thought it was going to do in terms of revenue coming in, and the conversion rates are really high. Between sort of 20 to 25% purchase rates, which was just insane. Because I'd built this relationship up and I developed trust and developed authority, people were thinking, oh, Nick's doing it the right way, and he happens to use this product, so maybe I should as well. And that's great, because I literally do think that people should be using the products that I suggest to them, because I use them and it saves me a ton of time and headaches. So I think other people as well. So I'm happy to recommend. But yeah, it turned out a happy mistake, and so this is something I wanted to develop, which is why I've turned those text emails into a video series, which is a lot more effective, I think, for teaching than a short email once a day. So when people sign up now at yourfirst10kreaders.com, they'll get their first video training straight away, as well as a case study of how I helped another author go from sort of $10, $20 a month to $3,000 a month.
Whoa, okay.
Using the same sort of processes we've talked about today. So, very step by step, this is exactly what you should go do to start seeing results straight away. And there's a few videos up there, and when people sign up, they'll get them straight away. Well, they'll get the first one straight away. So there's plenty of value in there for people as well.
Okay, so it started as text emails, and then you turned that into video. So now every day for 10 days, somebody's going to get a new video lesson.
No, I've kind of combined a lot of them into single videos. So there's currently 3 videos, but there's close to 2 hours worth of content split between those 3 videos. So you don't get one every day. They're kind of spread out to allow it to sink in a little bit, because I think once a day is a bit much.
Yeah, if it's going to be 3 hours worth of stuff, exactly. For sure.
Yeah, so it's been really fun to put together, definitely.
So how often do you send? This is always a question that I get, and I don't know the best answer for this, because other people do advocate, you got to be in the inbox every day, and then other people like, hey, don't send me stuff that often. Like I can't digest all this. So is there a best practice for how often you should be emailing?
Well, I've done both. I think with my nonfiction lists, when I was sending the text emails, I was doing it literally every day. And I never received a single complaint, because I was offering something of value. If you're going to be sending a sales pitch you're going to get people getting pretty pissed off, right? But if you're sending something of value, you can be as frequent as you like. As long as what you're offering is something that your subscribers are actually interested in, then they're not going to mind getting emails from you or twice a day sometimes.
Yeah.
For fiction, it's entirely different, because fiction is very broad. It's very hard to be targeted with fiction beyond people who happen to like mysteries, for example.
Yeah.
So I tend to email twice a month for fiction.
Okay.
So I have found that more frequent than that with my fiction list, I do start getting unsubscribes that are above where I want them to. But with non-fiction, I've managed one a day, and currently every 3 or 4 days with the video series.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm trying to find the sweet spot of helping people, but not pissing them off by emailing too much. And which email service provider are you using?
I use MailChimp at the moment.
Okay.
So I've been with them for years, and they're free up to 2,000 subscribers. So it makes perfect sense if you're just getting started to use something like MailChimp, because you don't have to get any credit card details or anything. You just get your first 2,000 subscribers completely free.
Awesome. Nick, this has been awesome stuff, all about building your email list from Amazon's platform, talking about putting up a permanently free book, driving traffic to it with targeted keywords, thinking, again, as Amazon as a search engine that can be beaten, that can be won, that can be used and molded to your advantage, and having a
Sounds so Machiavellian the way you put it. They're going to bend to my will.
Exactly, an incentive bonus offer to drive those people onto your email list to make sure that they're your customers and not just Amazon's. If you want to learn more about this stuff, definitely check out Nick's stuff at yourfirst10kreaders.com.
That's the one.
And we'll wrap it up with your number one tip for Side Hustle Nation.
Focus on email building. It's long-term strategy. It's amazing what you can do with it. If you want to have an asset that you own that can continue making you money passively long into the future, focus on building your email list. Even if it costs you money to start off with, it's going to be totally worth it in the end. Number one tip.
I love it. Nick, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks so much for bearing with me on that call. As you may have noticed, the audio quality was not up to the usual standard here at the Side Hustle Show. What happened was my computer actually blue screened, the blue screen of death in the middle of the call, and the entire first half of my audio file was corrupted. But thankfully, Nick had been recording a backup, and that was a lifesaver. He was able to send that over to me, just a little bit funky on the sound, but still usable. And so that's what we ran with. If you're looking to make 2015 your year of hustle and could use some accountability and support and feedback to make some serious progress, I urge you to check out my Inner Circle Mastermind at sidehustlenation.com/join. I anticipate we'll have one, maybe two groups of 4 to 6 fellow side hustlers, fellow entrepreneurs who come together with me on a weekly basis and starting in the next couple weeks. So if that sounds appealing to you, stop on by sidehustlenation.com/join, submit an application, and we'll schedule a quick intro call, or just shoot me a note with any questions you have about it. It's nick@sidehustlenation.com. Now, ever since hanging up with Nick, the other Nick Stevenson, I've been brainstorming what kind of free book I should put up on Amazon. This one has definitely got my gears turning. Could I repurpose some old blog posts? Could I repurpose some old podcast interviews? I don't know what it's going to be yet, but definitely anxious to try out his tactic and see if that can be a growth driver for the site and the email list in 2015 and beyond. As is per the usual, speaking of building that email list, all my notes, highlights, along with Nick's top tips from the call are available to you in a free downloadable PDF at sidehustlenation.com/89, or through the link in the episode description of your podcast player app. Thanks so much for tuning in, spending some time with me today. Until next time, let's go out there and make something happen, and I'll see you next week in episode 90. Hustle on.
Thanks for listening to The Side Hustle Show at www.sidehustlenation.com.